Greetings everyone, my name is Napoleon Complex. I go by Ludendorff in the Southern Forums. Welcome back to Revenge on Hannibal, and today I am facing what I suspect will be my last opponent, but certainly not my least opponent. I'm facing Harvey H today. So Harvey H is a good player and definitely someone who I feel fear from when I see his banner flying on the battlefield. He fought me to a standstill in the classical antiquity division, drawing me, the only player who drew against me in that tournament. He beat me in the semi-finals of the themed event, and he's certainly a very formidable player and one that I am anticipating a tough fight from in this rematch. So let's see how it goes. This will be the tiebreaker. And it's really just a bit of fun as well to see what happens when the shoes are on the other feet. Much more open battlefield this time, because last time we were fighting in a valley. I am, of course, taking his Ptolemaic army with Roman allies. Specifically, it's the 55 BC Ptolemaic list, and the only Roman allies they can take in that period. I have opted to go for a very mixed formation of infantry, with impact foot interspaced with offensive spearmen and raw pike blocks. Now, the reason I'm taking this approach is because I know these units can fight well if they can close to melee. However, if they're hit hard by the impact foot, specifically the Spanish Sutari of the Carthaginian list, or if they get entangled with veteran African spearmen, well, mainly the veteran African spearmen, or worse still, the war bands, then things will go very badly for them. So I've got my various impact units spread out through the field, once again with the weaker part of my army in the center, and they should be able to cope quite well if the Carthaginians also go weak center, and my tough Roman legionaries on the flanks, although they can swap out with the Spanish Sutari over here if we want to face this hill. I expect this hill will be a problem, that's why I've brought some ranged units. Once again, haven't had much luck besieging Harvey on hills, but it is there. I've tried to keep my militia 30 or 40 hidden just a little bit, make Harvey guess a little bit about what I've got here exactly. And I've also got the light javelin horse starting off near the skirmish line so that they can support against enemy skirmishers. If it's called for, I'll bring them out to the flanks to help against the opposing side's cavalry. But other than that, I hope to basically take control of this area here with the skirmishers and take care of anything on the hill so that I can safely engage along his entire line and I don't have to worry about flanking attacks. This hill may prove a problem. I expect that Harvey will probably hang back and force me to come to this area here. That's one reason why the skirmish wing may be useful. So I can maybe draw him out into a fight. Because what he may do is try and overlap me on this flank while he uses this hill to anchor his right. And if he does that, well, I could just swing my line left to try and oppose that. So that's one option, or I can try to use my missile troops to make his defense on the right untenable. So I've gone for quite a large Roman army to counteract the fact that I suspect the Carthaginian army will be quite large as well. If he does go elite and brings lots of Sutari, war bands, veterans, that sort of thing, I can probably use my cavalry and archers to good effect to try to draw him out into more open terrain and surround his army. And I'll focus on getting around his flanks. Without further ado, let's get into setting up the generals, and I'll be back in a moment once that's done. Oh, and sorry, I should talk about the armies briefly. So, the Ptolemaic list features pike phalanxes and thoracidae, with a good mix of 3 or 4 offensive spears, and some Thracians with run 5 for anti-armor. It's these units that I really want to get into the veteran African spears. If they can be generaled up, then they can do very well in that matchup actually. But they also have some interesting militia 3 or 4s. They've got raw offensive spearmen. Raw medium offensive spearmen are a rare sight in classical antiquity, and they're a rare sight in general actually. And they also have access to the Machimoy pike phalanx. Now, I do not particularly trust these units. They're very unreliable. If anything goes wrong for them at all, they have a bad tendency to fracture and come apart. And at 48 points, that's a lot to invest in a unit that could break at the first sign of trouble. So I know that Harvey is going to try and zero in on these with his impact foot. Either that or get the flanking, because they will break very quickly, and so I've tried to protect them with other units. However, if they can stand in combat, they are still pikes, they will still get good POA. If you can preserve them for long enough, they will be extremely dangerous to even average quality units, and that's why they're 48 points, and that's why I've decided to bring them over the irregular foot, which I could have gone for, but given that I really don't like irregular foot, I've decided to leave them at home today. The militia theory of 4i are also interesting at 30 points. They are a steal. They are raw quality, but their offensive spearman status does make up for that somewhat if they can survive the initial impact. The real problem with these units is that if they're hit too badly by particularly impact foot, and actually I'm a little bit worried about them. That's a good point. He could play Sutari here. I'm expecting a regular foot of his own, but if he plays the battalion of Sutari here, my militia theory of 4i may have difficulties in the opening stages of the fight. And I might have to pull them back behind the cavalry and send the militia off to deal with enemy cavalry instead, while my own cavalry draw off the Sutari. But they're very cost effective at dealing with enemy cavalry, except for lancers, of course, because they're just a little bit too tough. And other than that, they're good. They're good flanking forces, and I'd much rather have these than a unit of irregular foot. And even better than the raw legionaries, who really aren't very good at all. They have some impact capability, but due to the raw status and the quality differential, they barely ever get a chance to use it. And I'm really just using them to try and give my line a little bit of length and give me some more troops in the centre, as well as a little bit of impact protection for the centre of my line. I'm going weak centre, but this just strengthens it a little bit, I think. We have access to Zeistafori, we have access to Armoured Noble Cavalry, that's courtesy of our Roman allies, I believe, and also our own. Sorry, that's the Armoured Cavalry I'm talking about. I think that's one of those is courtesy of our Roman allies, the other is native to us. We have some good quality Noble Cavalry, again, that will be the Romans. And we have some Arab cavalry. That's great for disrupting enemy cavalry lines, and they can shoot, which again will help me if I need to besiege the mountain. And other than that, a good mix of lancers and armored noble cavalry, and some elephants, which I've opted not to bring today because they are very expensive. Little bit worried about Carthaginian elephants, actually, as I don't have good anti-elephant options today. Actually, this list doesn't have great anti-elephant options in general. The Arab cavalry can help if they can get some shots into the elephants. Maybe I should consider a flank transfer, because with the mountain here, I probably I think I will use the camels over here. Actually, no, I think I will. Yeah, we'll keep them over here for now, I think, and they'll be more useful over here. I'd rather have the larger cavalry flank over here, to be honest, and the noble cavalry will still be good distractions and good against enemy cavalry. They'll need to avoid lancers. I've got these units here as distractions for enemy cavalry, though I suspect Harvey will bring a lot of his light horse as well, so I'll need to watch out for a swarm of light cavalry. Beyond that, I'm not sure there's really much else to remark on. We have a fairly standard skirmisher wing. The Cretans are good, but they're very expensive. I opted for an ordinary archer wing today. And we also have, of course, the Roman legionaries and veteran Roman legionaries. I've opted just to take the Roman legionaries today. But that gives me an idea. If I was willing to go for the irregular foot instead of the Machimoy phalanx, that might give me enough to upgrade to the I think that will give me enough to upgrade to the veteran Roman legionaries. So obviously I wouldn't use them in the centre, they'll be off in the flank somewhere, and I will readjust my line accordingly. That actually makes my centre a little bit less vulnerable. I have an extra unit over here, and I get to upgrade this Roman legionary unit to a veteran Roman legionary unit, and that means I have an elite unit in the fray. So I actually have something that can seriously threaten Hannibal's African veterans. And will they be better off here or here? Probably want to keep them away from the mountain. I think I'll put them over here. And that's a cost-effective swap. I think I like having these available. Those veteran Roman legionaries are very dangerous opponents. Okay. So, of course, Roman legionaries, even the ordinary Roman legionaries, are superior. They're armoured. They are a match for anything in the Carthaginian army, though they have to be a little bit careful of the elephants, and they, I think, lose over time to the veteran African spearmen, which are, of course, the linchpin of the Carthaginian line. But they are very dangerous to those spearmen on impact, because they might actually manage to disrupt a unit of veteran African spearmen if they can hit hard enough. And of course the veterans are so tough that they can actually beat the African spearmen on balance. Although again, I think if the Africans stand their ground, it is an even fight. And of course these will smash apart the veteran Italian foot, which are another key part of the Carthaginian line. I am a little bit worried about actually Again, if I see veteran Italians, I'll try and distract them with the noble cavalry and just leave the cavalry back to my militia 3 or 4. This is the kind of thing you have to think about. What could your opponent do to you, and how are you going to react to that? In this case, well, I need something facing the hill, so I'm still going to use these cheaper units on the flank. But if a more dangerous unit materializes on this flank, then I've got some idea of how I'm going to distract it. And over here, there's a possibility of a strong cavalry action. Well, I have lots of spears, and I have a good strong cavalry arm of my own. There are units that I can use to move over onto the rough ground or near the rough ground to gain parity with the cavalry and to tie them down and move on. So let's get into the action. Now, I think today I might want to have my commander-in-chief on the cavalry back here. Now that's an unusual choice, I know, to have my cavalry on such a small part of the army. But the reason I am doing that is because I believe that, well, I can always hop my commander-in-chief. He can go anywhere he likes. He's the commander-in-chief, so he can always hop back onto the infantry if he's needed. But I want these units to have the freedom to move around the field. I want these guys to have their own sub-commander. So our infantry, as a result, may be slightly under-commanded today. But I think it's worth it to have that strategic mobility. So we're going to have one general in charge of the left, and another in charge of the right. Let's try and keep those guys hidden. And that's a very small command group, but it gives my cavalry the freedom to move around. And I think in this case that's worth it. And I can always move my commander onto the infantry if I feel the need arises. Okay, that's enough talk. Let's get on with the battle. Next turn. Okay, here we go. I'm expecting Wild West Showdown music to start playing. As usual, plenty of thinking time from Harvey. Here we go. So he's brought a good wing of light cavalry to tie up my own heavy units. Harvey's gone quite heavy on his lights here. As expected, there are units of Phoenician style foot. One unit of Scutari to worry about though. So I might have to put my cavalry plan into action. Now there's a gap there. Why would he leave a gap? That is a red ragtop bull, so there must be some reason behind it. He's reconcentrating his light troops towards my own. He's going to take this hill, which will give his Phoenician style foot some purchase against me. The light horse are annoying, and they are a bit of a problem because they can charge into my cavalry, and also their javelins, if they come in from behind, can cause disruption over time, especially against my unarmored camels. Because I would be able to neutralize this force if it wasn't for that. The fact that he's got the hill here is also a difficulty. I might want to pull on this flank, or maybe try and concentrate my legionaries over here so they can attack this area of the battlefield and break. I need to be careful. I understand. Oh, I think I understand why he's got this unit here. If I push through, he can flank. But that might also just be a refused flank that he's now bringing up. And look at this. How he's arranged his forces. He's bringing this flank forward, but he's holding the center back. Now, why is he doing that? I wonder, his force seems awfully light. I wonder if he's got elephants or something reserved. No, you can't hide elephants in a town. I don't think so anyway. Well, I guess we'll find out. It's all a bit eerie, actually. It's probably cavalry in the woods there. Hold on while I compare his army. Let's take a look at his army size. He outnumbers me by a little bit. He doesn't appear to have anything hidden. So apparently this is all there is. The rough ground here, now that is an actual obstacle. But he can't, if he wants to form a solid line, he can't have it everywhere. He's probably planning to slow me down here more than anything else. I am a little curious as to exactly what his plan is here. There's got to be some kind of flanking force waiting around there. If I had more lights, I could do some reconnaissance. Right, let's start making some basic moves here. If he won't come forward to fight me, then I can start to flank these units here. So I'll need to be aware that I'll be fighting on the rough ground. It probably, seeing as I'm no longer worried about shock troops, it probably makes sense to swap these units around for the moment. And I'll bring these units in here to face the rough ground instead. Now he will beat me to that height, which is a concern. I suppose what I could do is send my Zeiss to Foray to try and break through the Phoenician style foot in the centre. That has a certain appeal to it. It's Especially since it wouldn't stop me from using my legionaries on this corner either. Because that height is going to do exactly nothing to stop my legionaries. Oh, but that will. He's got the 75% height advantage here. Right, we can't fight in that sector of the battlefield. I needed to stay away from that kind of height difference. But we'll advance on these tiles here. And I think whereas cavalry is a little bit weaker. So let's see, we'll break through. The problem is we'll be at a constant disadvantage from the hill. I might move this even further and just attack on this line here, because at least once we force the hill and start forcing this line back, I'll regain an advantage, because then his forces here will be locked out of this hill. So I might actually pull the entire line in. So let's see, aside from that, assuming there's nothing, that nothing changes this arrangement, and that's our 4 units here facing these 4 units here. We have 2 units of reserves to tie up the Spanish Scutari. I'm a little bit worried about the Spanish Scutari fighting these Thracians from fire. But if we have the hill here, if we take the hill here and can protect ourselves, that should help. Just to make life more dangerous for his impact foot, I'll have the Lancers floating around. And I think that we'll have the armoured cavalry and then the Arab cavalry. And I will also borrow the light javelin horse, and we will go and try and deal with this. I won't borrow anything else, it'll take too long to get there anyway. Right, we'll have our light and heavy cavalry operate in battle together. The Scutari are dangerous to my militia 3 or 4 though. I can't really afford to ignore that threat. I can wait until I'm making progress over here and just ignore this force if he allows me to do that, but I don't think he will. Harvey will have some kind of offensive plan waiting in these woods. I'm expecting elephants or something horrible to emerge from there. But then I just counted up the points and he doesn't seem to have anything hidden. I'm wondering if I miscounted or something. I'll probably count again next turn. For the moment, seeing as nothing horrifying has emerged, we'll push out. And we'll try to keep our skirmishers close to our main line, so they have support. Right, you guys are still attached to this, aren't you? Oh, so I didn't choose to move that unit, so I have to move everything individually. That's a bit of a drag. And we'll move these units up too. And the cavalry can join the light cavalry on the flanks. Okay, next turn. It's too hot today. Now that I might be able to make use of. Though I've got the wrong types of skirmishers for a charge. For a skirmisher charge. Right, I remember the deal now. We have to stay away from this hill. I want to break up onto the summit. Remember, Harvey's deployment is confusing me a little bit because I don't understand why he's left this gap here yet. But I know better than to underestimate Harvey on defense. Right, he is swinging out in that direction. Oh, I say defense, he's not exactly behaving defensively. Okay, now I know something's up. Why would you leave that position? So he did have something hidden then. He had quite a lot hidden. Yeah, I think I calculated he had about 500 troops hidden away somewhere. But the method I use for counting units often means I overestimate the number of units that are in the open. So it's not surprising that there were also some cavalry as well. Because I consider our units of infantry to be 500 men for the ease of counting. It's actually 480. See, here's the thing. That'll hurt. And I might just disrupt and bounce off, in which case I'll be at a big disadvantage for the skirmish. What I need is for my skirmishers and my heavy infantry to work together here. So let's see. Well, our cavalry are equivalent, but I am somewhat weakened by the presence of those light javelin horse because I only have one of my own. I can use the irregular foot to make up for that, admittedly. The Cetari are a very good choice against my militia theory of 4i. I don't really have anything over here that can counter that. It almost looks like I'd be better off using the cavalry to block the Cetari and using the militia theory of 4i to block the noble cav. Maybe I can force that fight. Just keep the cavalry back for the moment. So if he tries to engage, I can then attack him with my medium infantry. Because I can take my time. I'm quite happy to spend time fighting in the skirmish. It gives me time to rearrange my army, depending on how I need it to look. This is difficult because these light javelin can launch quite an aggressive attack against me next turn. What I think I should do in that case is actually move my heavy infantry up. Because they are well armoured, they can take a javelin attack. And they can still go on to win the battle against this lot. I am a little bit worried about the veteran Italian legionaries. Well, no, let's have a look at this line in a bit more detail. My Thracians from Romphaea will be a good match against this veteran Italian foot. I do actually have an extra unit of militia 3 of 4i, which could help against the Spanish Sutari. And then if we can win the battle over here, I could potentially turn inwards. Spanish Sutari, Roman legionaries will thump Phoenician stealth foot, but there are 2 of them. So I probably want my Thoracitai around as well. And as I probably want to move up my more heavily armoured but less valuable units, I'll send forward my Thoracitai, and I'll keep my more valuable unit. The thing is, I don't actually want to. So that gives them cover if they decide to move up and attack. But does obviously mean that my Thoracitai are going to take it, because they can be attacked 3 times by 3 of these units. So I think I want to move. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to move the Roman legionaries up as well and just keep the other units sheltered behind my lines for the minute. These Thracians from fire are currently protecting my archers from direct charge, so they need to remain where they are. And yeah, just using a combination of my heavy and my light forces to protect my lines. Now the raw legionaries are only protected actually because of course they're not entrusted with the best equipment yet. Move the Roman legionaries up to here. Keep the mediocres back. These will be good line infantry here. That's not an ideal matchup. 3 of 4i to African spearmen wouldn't be too bad, but imitation legionaries to veteran African spearmen is a grim matchup, and to raw legionaries is absolutely terrible. I think I have to be prepared to be aggressive here because I do have a good match against his forces here, but the light javelins are going to be a problem. Let's see now. I think we have to be prepared to launch an attack here. I'll actually use these to get these, use my light javelin horse to help the Mashinmoy pike phalanx move forward. What I could do is launch a sudden attack against his light cavalry and try and pin their options. I think I'll do that. I don't want to give him complete freedom of operation. We'll move out and I can threaten to knock them off the map. And that means he has to think carefully about where he's going to go next. I won't waste ammo though. It's not quite worth that. Right, next turn. Right, they ride on by. That's interesting, that's going after my infantry force. Or they might just be circling around to attack the cavalry. I just realised I forgot to move these guys up, which has given them time to form up. I could have actually got a foothold on the hill here. Right, as planned, my armoured units are going to take the brunt of this. You can see the cost effectiveness of the Carthaginian army coming into effect here. Those light javelin got a lot of kills against us, and even if Harvey had no light troops at all, this Carthaginian army looks frightening. Right. Focusing on the Thoracitai, because he knows. Well, the Roman legionaries are heavily armored as well. The Roman legionaries are armored as well. So there's no difference in casualties. In fact, the Roman legionaries would have been the more expensive target. Right. So here's our counterattack. Good. And let's also hit this unit here. They held firm. So do I now want to move my imitation legionaries up? Of course, he's now got all of this in position. Though if he wants to advance and take advantage of the situation, it also means bringing these units down onto the flat. Now, there's probably ways he can protect this flank doing that, because he could engage here and then hold this unit back here on the hill. And then I wouldn't be able to engage in the flank unless I could drive that unit back a tile, at which point I'd be opening up my own flank. Let's see. What I think I can do, which might force his hand a little bit, is threaten his entire skirmish line by turning this light javelin horse, because he has to move up here to block, to get a secondary zone of control if he wants to try and control that. I don't think I can move straight out to attack, but it does threaten this entire skirmish line and puts these light troops under pressure. Now let's take a look over here. So yeah, I need this militia Thurii to match the Phoenician style foot, so they're not going to be available. I'm still planning to use my militia Thurii to guard against his noble cavalry. But I don't want to move them out just yet, because those noble cavalry can potentially dodge around us and into the ranks of my cavalry. So I need to be cautious. Let's see. What about the rest of this? It's a long shot, but I can try and drive them off the map. Right. At least they're running it. Right. And actually, I think I can pin them in and pin them down. So make it very difficult for these light javelin horse to move anywhere safely. And it's a distraction for my cavalry, but that's fine. We're still setting up for battle at the moment. And I'll just turn here for maybe keep these units moving in this direction. And We are at a mismatch here in the centre. And these javelin are slowly wearing down my Thorakitai, and they'll start working on my legionaries as well. Though I can beat them off in time with my protected skirmishers. And we'll have to see what Harvey decides to do in reaction to these light javelin horse, because I can beat him here. But it's a crapshoot over here, and we're going to lose in the centre. Next turn. Okay, and in reflection of that, I'm going to move my troops up to get ready for the engagement. But, okay, I need to be careful where I move because I need those light javelin horse to have an avenue of escape, otherwise they'll get pinned in. They can still get hemmed in, I'm a little bit worried about that. Hopefully that wasn't a mistake. Next turn. The siege of my line continues. Now I might be able to do something with that. Or it could be a giant trap. Because I'm aware... Oh, yeah, he's moving up the Satari to support. Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble there. I'm quite happy I managed to seal off those light cavalry. Of course, it is drawing off my other forces. Some of my units are taking a pounding. I need to remember there's something in that built-up area. So if I'm going to try and match my cavalry against the Satari, then I need to do it now. If I don't make the right unit matchups, then Harvey's going to make them for me soon. I think there's always a little bit of nervousness at work when you're playing. You're up against a veteran player. Or someone who's either beaten you or gone toe-to-toe with you in the past. I certainly feel that way facing Harvey. There's a little bit of a psychological element to playing it Field of Glory too, I think. Not sure why the replay is going so slowly here. Harvey often takes a long time to think about his decisions, I think, so that's why the replay speed is so slow. But yeah, there's a definite psychological element to Field of Glory. And I think it's easy. It would be hard to overstate the impact of that sometimes. Clever, turn my own cavalry against me. Well then, let's see if we can disrupt them in one shot. No such luck. That could backfire quite dramatically if I charge out like that, around like that, because it could end up. Yeah, I need to be careful. So remember, the goal is to match my militia 3 or 4i to his noble cavalry. Okay. Now I could go for a mixed formation of cavalry and just hide my cavalry behind my militia until it's time to come out and pin the Sutari. The real danger here is we could over pursue and end up in the path of both the Sutari and the cavalry. The fact that my troops aren't maneuverable doesn't help. Let me think about it. The thing is, I need 1 unit of of these militia 30 or 4i to match these Phoenician style foot. So if we're thinking rationally about this, come on, someone get disrupted. Let's move out here. See, if I want to pull this off, I can't let him engage my cavalry with his cavalry. I need to make sure that both my militia 3 or 4i units are the ones who get that attack in, who get their licks in. That would end badly. So my 3 or 4i need to move up first. But it might actually come down to the irregular foot. That wouldn't end very well, would it? Okay, think about this. We've got 3 units, and I should have 4 units available somewhere, even though it's just the irregular foot. What do I fall back? Still the same awkward angle. That's a tough one. And I just realised because we're in the forest, this is quite a bad impact. Right, I didn't think it'd be quite this bad in the forest. I do need to get my cavalry into his infantry. I swear, this shows how the league's moved on, because I swear players weren't ready for this trick when I used cavalry, mixed cavalry infantry tactics. Things seem to have moved on, and a lot of players seem to be wise to that kind of maneuver and the danger it can pose. The problem with this is that I can now get flanked by the light javelin horse, and that could hurt a lot, which makes me a little bit nervous. But I do need to move my 3. I need to move these guys back so that they're ready to fight the Phoenician style foot when they move up. And I need, if I come to think of it, don't do anything yet. But I probably want my Thracians from fire to be the ones fighting the veteran Italian foot, because that's something they're actually good at. Archers won't do well against light javelinmen in the forest. Again, they're melee-oriented skirmishers. Since they're so close to us, it really depends whether or not these skirmishers decide to fall back or not. If they didn't, that could be disastrous for us. Oh, it's very difficult. I can't maneuver all of my troops into positions they need to be in. This is the unit we clobbered previously, wasn't it? Isn't it? Okay. Okay, and move up like that. And my plan is to bring these Roman legionaries up to attack the Phoenician stealth foot. Okay. And I think what we'll do actually We've just been over why that's a bad idea. Thing is, I can tell that these light javelinmen are going to be a massive pain in my neck pretty much the entire rest of the battle. Okay. I think one of my cavalry units will have to go off to confront the other units with noble cavalry, and they'll take the irregular foot in support. I'll move up here and get ready to charge these light javelin horse, get them out of our way. And my light cavalry can start to maneuver to cause problems for the noble cavalry. That causes problems of its own, that approach. Because he can move to here and he'll be threatening my militia 3 or 4 able to flank attack next turn. And these guys are still locked in the forest. So what do I do about that? And of course I would take away the general before I thought about that. Life has this annoying tendency of repeatedly reminding me that I'm not as clever as I think I am. Or at least not as clever as I want to be anyway. That seems nuts to use a general there. I should never have put them in the forest. He'll engage them next turn. And this could lock down this entire section of my line. Very frustrating situation to be in. And of course that's going absolutely nowhere. And I better pull back so that my cavalry has somewhere to retreat into. That'll interfere with my attack. Well, that's an appalling mess. They'll be able to scout around. At least we've driven them off for the meantime. In the meantime, because I'm not going to be able to get across to them. I'll move back to confront his cavalry. And drop back, I guess, so that we're not taking constant unchallenged fire. Next turn, I guess. I have a lot to learn. And of course the light horse are right back out to bother me. I was hoping they'd run off. Go bother something else. Let's see. You've got to be kidding me. At least I didn't catch anything. That might actually take some of the... No, wait, he's moving up more troops. And those light troops are between me and the Phoenician-style foot. Interesting choice of target. But the Africans can do... The African spears can do fine against my raw troops. Although, if he doesn't do anything on the hill, I might be able to do something with this. In fact, wait. And we're still only 44% of the way through the replay. I see he's moving around to flank me with the Phoenician-style foot. And of course my militia 3 of 4 are stuck in the woods and can't do anything about it. I'm not completely out of ideas yet. Between this and my match with Snuggle Bunnies, this has been a very harsh education on the importance of bringing enough light infantry and using them correctly. I used to be very diligent about using and bringing light infantry. He's kept those Sutari in reserve so that if we do smash through, he can flank my legionaries. Now that I can possibly do something with. Because if I move to here to reveal those Phoenician-style foot, I don't think he can move his... I don't think they'll be able to move into the space to harass me. And I actually do want to engage those veteran Italian foot with the Thracians and Romfire. That will force my entire line to move. See if we can't finally disrupt these accursed lights. Finally, they give up. I'm not charging up to chase them. We now need to form a solid line and face the oncoming threat. In fact, actually, I think I might have Harvey in a bit of a bind here. If I engage here, move the legionaries up here, I think my cavalry can get a flank on the forest. It means we'll be engaging on bad grounds, but honestly, if we can get the flank attacks in, that might not matter. Oh, and if we can instead use the regular foot to get the flank attack in. I probably shouldn't get too greedy. Winning here would be valuable enough. Continue around the flanks. So let's consider where he can move to. I don't think he'd be able to stop a flank attack if I moved in this direction. So let's see. Okay, we engage here as planned and move here to reveal the Phoenician style foot. But they need a turn's notice. And you can move here to block that square. Suppose I can block that with light. Infantry. Of course, I need these units to confront his medium troops. And keep them positioned behind until we're ready to move. So if I can engage with the... still seems... Hopefully something here should eventually lead to a flank attack. Or I can eventually move up my militia 3 or 4 and this will only be he'll only get a temporary he'll only temporarily have control over the situation. Let's see. The only thing is I need to be careful about opening up a flank here, because if we can pull all of my troops in towards the right, then I will then I can be flanked here. Which he can do if he's careful, and he's lucky enough to win on impact each time, or at least survive impact. Because I could also have pulled these units out of formation. As it is, if I want to attack here, where's a general when you need him? Right, you guys out of this situation here. Launching an attack while we're out of formation just isn't a good idea right now. Or let me make a more general statement. Launching an attack while you're out of formation just isn't a good idea. Okay, good. They were actually aggressive enough. That helps. Let's think about this. Ah, good. Okay, we can lock them in. So they're jammed into place now. And I want to give those noble cavalry as little room to maneuver as possible. And yes, the light cavalry are going to haunt me every step of the way, just like they haunted me all the way through Snuggle Bunny's battle. And through many battles before that. I swear I'm going to make sure I bring an army of Lightfoot next time. I think it's safe to say that my honeymoon with the heavy foot is over after this. Then again, we seem to be holding. If I can win the battle, because if he engages here, he'll be... I think I have enough troops over here to cover my flanks once the cavalry return to the field. And if I can get this flank attack, I can maybe start to get an advantage over his army. But it depends what happens here in the centre. Alright, next turn. I still managed to get out of the way of my forces. Right. I need to hope they win impact. Okay, good. That's an advantage to us now. Generaled up for that. Oh, lucky. The veteran African spearmen don't normally panic like that. That opens up an offensive line here. But here comes the second unit of veterans, and they should win. Ouch. Ow. Okay, we get it. We're not very popular. And the javelins there mean that I'm going to struggle to pin the Spanish Sutari in place. So I'm going to struggle to get my flank attack, and it's really important I get that flank attack right now. And he's doing the turn on diagonals trick. So what I mean by the turn diagonals trick is it means that if I try to engage the weakened veteran African spearman, I won't be able to engage this unit with this unit because this unit's exerting a zone of control ahead of it and it's not facing that square. And the end result is that if my troops push through the disrupted veteran African spears, they'll get flanked. This at least is a situation I can actually do something about. Right, let's think about this. Now that could work, depending on what those cavalry decide to do. I was hoping that they would pursue a little bit further and get into the... Just turn around here and start throwing javelins at these horsemen. I was hoping that they would pursue to this square here and then they could pin the Spanish Sutari, but it wasn't to be. Now the problem is that if I try and move my noble cavalry to block the Spanish Sutari, and thus prevent him from getting the flank attack. He can just engage with his light javelin horse, tie them down for a turn, and then the Centauri can come forward and murder my irregular foot. So I've been frustrated there. I can get some revenge with my own light troops right now. They should be able to tie down the light javelin horse and really give them hell here. So they can't charge my Roman legionaries anymore. I've got the militia theory of 4 so at least he can't... oh, he can. I need to be careful here because he can move his skirmishers around to block my troops in. So I can't engage the veteran African spearman yet. The veteran Italian foot, rather. So I need to stay in melee for the moment, unfortunately. So what I was kind of hoping to do is then, if he's not going to engage the Phoenician-style foot, then I can attack forward with the veteran Italian spearman with my Roman legionaries. But he can move to here and then turn to flank. So he's threatening the flank this turn, and then he can move his light javelin here and here to block, so that my militia theory of 4 I won't be able to come in to protect that zone of control this turn. So I'll just need to wait a turn and be a little bit patient. Is there anything I can do with the situation? Let's see where that pursuit path takes us. That's the wrong way to go. I think I'm starting to hate the light horse with the same ferocious passion that everyone else does. Right, I'll still eventually be able to do something with all of this. It's just going to take some time. Okay, next turn. Well, no, not next turn, what am I saying? So let's see what happens along the rest of the line. So no luck there, and now I'm at... Right, let's see. What can I do instead? This is pretty ugly. Even with the... Because he generaled up African spearmen with... Oh, this is going to be really, really nasty. And the light horse simply will not leave me alone. The problem is I'm one turn behind Harvey. I know I'm going to suffer badly here. There's probably going to be a bunch of disruptions at this point. And he's stonewalling all of my strong infantry from being able to attack. I could try and attack on this line, but there's a real risk that my mediocre Roman legionaries, that my Maccamoy pike phalanx won't make the charge in time, and they'll end up exposing themselves to the Spanish Centauri. And of course he's still got those Spanish Centauri waiting in reserve if something does go wrong. What I can do is try and charge out with the mediocre Roman legionaries first. I think I'll do that. And that worked. Thankfully, it worked. But it still means I can't charge this turn, I can only move forward. And we'll push forward with the raw legionaries. Okay. See how hard we can hit those legionaries, those imitation legionaries. Right. So normally we'd be under flank threat there, but I can actually anchor that with the 3 of 4i. Okay. That's that situation mostly under control now. Of course I can't actually turn to attack here yet. They'll probably get flanked. Thing is that noble cavalry will have an advantage on the rough ground because they're already moderately disordered by camels. And so if Harvey can force me into a fight on the rough ground, then involving the rough grounds, then my camels will be at a disadvantage. So you can do that by threatening the flanks of these Zeistophoroi, who are currently engaged with the noble cavalry. Because you'll be able to turn this. Okay. I mean, I can only do my best. Let's at least weaken them with our fire. And I'll have to hope that my Zeistophoroi get the upper hand on the noble cavalry, and my infantry can get the upper hand here before any flank attacks can happen. So I need to maintain a solid line here for now. And let's just take... Right, we'll have to take our lumps here. Because now that this situation's gone forward, I pretty much have to charge through and lock down the Spanish Scutari. Phew, I thought they were going to go down as well. Because they've taken so many casualties, they are at a steep disadvantage. So my whole line here is under threat. And he's unfortunately winning through quickly here. Okay. Oh, it's all looking rather grim. I can't afford... I can't think... too pessimistically. I still have a good chance of winning this battle if I can just get a few advantages at the right points. I'm just setting up to attack these units once they break off. They can't charge, so we're safe from that at least. And I'm trying to get into a position where I can attack here. I'm starting to wonder if I should just attack here anyway, because I should have enough elements. I can't because these units have gone off in the middle of nowhere. Into the middle of nowhere. I do feel like the cost efficiency of the Carthaginian army is shining through in this battle. Okay, one more turn. I'm just a little bit behind Harvey at the moment. We'll see if I can catch up next turn. Yeah, that's not going to stop me. Good. That's fine. It's not great, but it's alright. I was hoping we'd break them quickly, because they'll rally up soon. Not good. Again, lots of thinking time from Harvey here. I wonder if I can get those noble cavalry to run away. I can't stop all of this. Oh, I see what he's done. Blasted light horse again. And it's looking like it's just going to be a bad day for me today. Excuse me while I murder my light horse. Excuse me while I murder my Zeistafori for losing that battle they had an advantage in. It's really going up. My men have to stop losing. Just can't seem to help themselves at the moment. Okay. Here I have no choice. Ah, you morons. You utter imbeciles. And he's got me. Harvey's got me. I'm gonna charge in here to try and get a multiple combat advantage. Then I'm going to try and drive them off, but it hasn't worked. I'm dead. Another defeat in the Hannibal in Africa series. The only hope now is to try and break through quickly here, and pull things back, because otherwise we're for the high jump. Nope. I think we just lost an impact. Yep, we're going to lose this entire line. Place my troops here. I'm not going to lock them in, but we'll place them here to distract Harvey's attention. I think with things going so badly, I really do have no choice but to engage. We at least do have some advantage once melee continues. I can hopefully smash this part of his line apart, and that might make up for the fact that we're going to lose hard here. But it's not looking good, especially because these Spanish Atari can engage me here. And this is a disaster. Before they end up routing into position, that's difficult. I'll move these in to help, and I'll engage the veteran Spanish infantry so that we at least have an advantage here. I can't get his troops to break. Try and chase them off. If they run far enough, we might be able to circle around for the attack. It doesn't look very likely. That's as likely to backfire as it is to go well, because his cavalry could end up evading into a position where they can attack again. What I can do is I can use his light forces to bother me there though, because I can't just close in the noble cavalry because his light troops will interfere. Because Harvey has light superiority. I think what I'll do is I'll just keep trying to shove them off towards the back of the map. Take this fight first. I think we'll go for the auto break here, try and finish them off quickly. I'd rather they broke here if they're going to break, rather than getting around the flanks as well. But this really is looking like a disaster now. I think Harvey's quickly looking like my nemesis. I just can't seem to beat him I just can't seem to beat him in an even fight. Next turn. Yep. Well, that helps a lot. Because we've got the general there and we can hopefully stand up. Yep, we lost the Roman legionaries, but our pikes held firm. That could give us some much needed time. So many skirmishers and they all still have missiles. Yep. It was a matter of time. And they rallied up, just as I knew they would. They always rally up. Never count on the veteran African spearmen breaking easily. It will never happen. We're just, yeah. I could still win this, but I think Harvey has the... No, we won't remark on this now. This is still an action. There's no point in saying either way what's going to happen. I've seen worse situations like this reversed. Now, if our men keep making mistakes like that, we won't win. Good, we broke through quickly here. I may have been overly pessimistic. Them holding on doesn't help. Right. He couldn't even give us a turn. Most disappointing. And he's covering an attack there. Do I care that much? See, I can move in and disrupt this unit. Because that's what... Oh, but then he'd be threatening my flank, wouldn't he? This noble cavalry unit has taken an awful beating. I'm not sure it's worth throwing a light unit away on, though. To just move in zone of control these lights. Might manage to dupe his cavalry into taking that fight. Good. And we'll finish this unit off here. Hopefully my Macamoy pikemen don't pursue. Good. Alright. Now what about here? We do have a chance to win this melee. Okay, no luck. And no luck. What about here? Right, that's actually okay. So do I just let this continue? Because I'm going to get flanked here, that's the only thing. What about this battle over here that's going on? Problem is those veterans could fight all day against us. That's what the veterans are good for after all. And these odds are not pretty. He's got those light javelin horse behind me, and they'll be able to charge. He's all over me at the moment, but I can move up here and block them. Aha. So I do have this careening towards this side of his army. They are free to attack now. Alright. They've auto-broken, which is going to take the 3 or 4 with them. Oh dear. Let's see if we can't pull his troops around in funny directions. I won't be able to do anything about the veteran African spearmen. They're online, but then again, we're not going to last here anyway. No. It was really unfortunate these Phoenician stealth foot managed to disrupt us. But Harvey's just blowing my line apart here. Oh, this is going to be an utter catastrophe for the Ptolemies. The only way I can get this flank attack is to move like that. Oh, but he's going to move in here. So I now have to turn my force all the way around to fight, otherwise he's just going to get the flank on me. He's all over me. Well, that won't save me from fragmentation here. Should have given him the general. Because he's generaled up for that reason. That's why the general's here. Is to keep these units pinned. Because he doesn't care if these units get charged and destroyed. He's after my heavy units. Well, we managed to luck out and get out of that situation. At least his troops are starting to run low on ammo now. Probably best to turn back towards the battlefield. Move our own light troops out to bother. In fact, actually, I'll move them back here to threaten his cavalry. So if they do try and move back in to pin the militia to Riaphora, I can pin them in place and start to move. Next turn. There's a small chance that my raw legionaries can hold on, that I might be able to flank him here. Okay, we're still alive. Where there's life, there's hope. If my men can't pull themselves together soon, we're toast. So Harvey having to make some tough decisions there. Okay, we held firm. Need to start getting the upper hand against those, wait a second. Oh. Well, I think Harvey might have made a mistake here. Did you see it? Very subtle, but did you see what was going on near the battle with the veteran Italians? Oh my goodness, how did he get all of this turned around so quickly? That's invaluable, but we've taken such a beating it might not matter. Yeah, he's left this flank open. Fortunately, we couldn't turn it into a instant rout. Yeah, we killed a lot of them, but it wasn't enough to decide the battle. Let's see. Try and catch him in the back. Of course, that may end up going against us, because I do actually need to get around to threaten this unit here. Okay, and it means basically sacrificing these guys, but I might be able to do something. I can move back towards the battlefield. Right, this is what my light cavalry always end up doing. They always end up trying to pin a unit in place, ready for other soldiers to get around to the key parts of the battlefield. Let's see what I can do with this now that I've got these units back and moving again. So they're now low in ammo. Let's start to move back towards the other side of the battlefield. Okay, we weren't able to do, but that's not a bad angle. We can maybe come in from this side and start worrying this side of the Carthaginian line. Okay, now here's the really important one. Yep, we can attack this unit. I could also move over to... No, I can't threaten that unit. Oh no! Oh, cursed fortune mine! That's inexperience, and it's because that's just. I thought that I might be able to attack this African spearman unit, so I moved that experimentally, and I didn't realise he had these cursed infantry in the area, and that's lost me the game right there. I am so used to having the undo move available to me, and I didn't see the danger. And that's it. That's pretty much game for me now. I'll move out here to try and set up a flank attack here, but I very much doubt I'm going to be able to win now. I say cursed fortune, it's just me not paying attention and realising what was going on. I will learn from this and play better in the future, but right now Harvey's just punishing every misjudgment I make with skilled play. And of course that ruins my flank attack. So our defeat here is pretty much inevitable now. That was agonizing. Next turn. Yeah, Harvey just asked me how my other games are going against the Carthaginians. I wouldn't say very well. I mean, I've lost against Nosy Rat, Snuggle Bunnies, and it looks like I'm going to lose here as well. I really do seem to be having trouble overcoming this Carthaginian Hannibal in Africa list. Especially when I'm playing against the other A division players. I mean, Hannibal in Africa is a good list. It's very well balanced, very cost effective units. And I think that is starting to show a little bit in some of these games, because I really am having trouble overcoming it. I think I will have to do some practice games revolving around Hannibal in Africa. Revolving around trying to beat Hannibal in Africa. We need to try and find strategies that can defeat this list. I actually didn't even realise I'd set that up. So we'll see if I can get rid of these veteran Italian foot quickly. If I can, then maybe I'm still in the game. But as things are right now, it's not looking very good for me at all right now. That was a mistake. Okay, so Harvey followed up my mistake with a mistake of his own there. But he still managed to take all of this out with his flank attack as he got his in first. Right. That helps a little bit. My size to 4, I've had a terrible day on the field. Very disappointed with them so far. No quick No quick victory. Well, we got them down. That's a fragmentation, so no complaining. Finally, we win a round of combat. We're almost dead already. That's flank attack waiting to happen, whichever way I attack. Okay, hopefully we can break through quickly here. Right, can we finish that? Okay, so I'll need to go in for a massive attack with my pikes. Unfortunately, they'll remain facing in that direction. And I can turn to face here, so if these units can hold out... Do we have a general we can lend? Oh, the general's off the field. Well, never mind. Okay. But that's something. That's at least got a couple of routes on the board now. Maybe I can turn this around, but it's a long way there. Now we need to win over here. Okay, I'm out of formation, but thankfully he can't actually hit me this turn. It was some... Oh, pursuing impetuous troops. Okay, at least he can't turn to flank until a turn later. So let me think about how to do this. Well, they are going to break next turn, this turn, so there's no point in discussing that. So I'm trying to think. So these units would obviously move to engage the legionaries, and this unit would move to flank. But, or what they'll probably do is turn around to engage my pursuing militia 3 of 4I. Problem is, due to the fact that, again, light foot are on my way, I can't move very easily to change direction and threaten these. What I can do is move to here. And then if he tries to turn around to engage militia 3 of 4I, I can threaten to turn and expose the flanks of the Phoenician staff foot. So my militia 3 of 4I can hold on just long enough, we might be able to do something here. I will continue to move around and across to here. He still has my light horse to worry about. I think I'll move them around to here. And yet they can still turn, so they're still bothering these noble cavalry, and that might just give my other troops a chance to move on and pass them back towards the battlefield, because I know that these noble cavalry are going to be the next ones to turn around. Now at least that might force them to devote these forces back towards this area of the battlefield. We'll let these guys limp away because we don't want to lose anyone else at this point. And see, the thing is, my skirmishers are probably the prime target for those light javelin right now. I think under the circumstances I'd quite like to encourage him to go after those slingers, because at least then he won't be focused on my fragmented archers. So I'll move up to engage his light javelin in the town, trying to make use of what little I have left. Okay. Nothing I can really do with them this turn. Again, because I'm anticipating a fight with his light troops. If they are going to be occupied with my militia 3 of 4, I'm bothering my regular foot. Maybe I can move my skirmishers back around to do something. Okay. Right. But then he might be able to pursue into the safety of the forest. We don't want to let him do that. Let's move around like this. And if anything, we can start to block his way into the forest. So okay, I'll move to... Well, what? let's not talk about imaginary scenarios. Let's just move to here, and then hopefully I can move around and then back into the white battle over here, where he's a little bit less concentrated. Right, so I think that's everything. I can't afford to miss anything, so I'm giving the battlefield a good scout over for moves that I might have missed. Obviously this is what it is. He took those easily. Okay, we're down, but we're not out yet. Next turn. Risky move by Harvey there, but they managed to hold firm. Okay, well, we knew this was going to go to hell. He's almost got the victory. I'm very efficiently moving around my army. So I have to charge in there. That's a matter of time now. I didn't realise just how bad my situation had become. Well, that keeps us going now, but they broke in the wrong direction to come to the help of our soldiers. Oh, very well done. Completely locked me down. Well, that helps. Right. So he didn't waste time going after these legionaries, he just moved, locked them down and moved past them. And worse, look where my cavalry have ended up. Well, there's no saving this unit. I guess I'll just have to try and go for... Well, at least we got a disruption out of it. These guys will need to form square, not that Makimoy pikes are very good at it, especially with African spears coming towards them. You can turn to face that square here. Oh, but look at what's coming to... And I just realised they're pursuing. Curses. The move there will be flanked. My men are now so beaten up that they can't actually beat Javelin Foot very easily necessarily. I just realised I've sent them straight into the arms of the noble cavalry. Well, they're probably going to auto break anyway, but okay, let's give it a charge. We got a disruption out of it at least. Is there anything I can do to save my legionaries? Maybe for a turn, if Harvey bounces off with his... Oh no, wait, of course. That's not how it will happen, because they will... No, they'll go through the forest because they're medium foot. They don't get slowed down by forest. And I can try to get this unit to bounce off. It's a long shot. Hopefully they'll stop pursuing next turn. I won't be able to get a rear charge though because of the rough ground. Harvey used this area very well against me. Sometimes you just have to admire your opponent and admit this was a masterclass. The battles where you get sent back to the academy are just as important as the battles where you win. Next turn. He's just holding me in place here. Because he knows he can win somewhere else in the field. Right. This unit turns to here, this unit turns to here. It's all unfortunately very mechanical now. This unit turns to here, this unit prepares to make its last stand. fending me off here. So all these slingers can really do is try and move away. But if they move to there, they'll be charged. Too late. No good. Sorry, there's a situation here as well. Cavalry are just about to auto break. And they aren't going to run away in the face of our javelin horse and of our troops. Especially with the enclosure in the way. I'm going to try it anyway just because they do chicken out, but it's not going to happen. Nope. Next turn. Well, Harvey, just put me out my misery. Oh, well spotted. We won the engagement, we couldn't drive them off. Cetari were too determined. The legionaries couldn't hold on. Very frustrating to see veteran Roman legionaries double drop like that, but the game was over anyway, so I can't really say much about it other than that. Look at this, raw units facing generaled up Spanish Cetari. This was never going to end any other way. Cripes, even the pike phalanx couldn't hold it together. Oh, we are totally beaten. It's another very sad day for Egypt and Rome. Oh. Well, then. We're still around. I wasn't expecting this. Quick, prepare some pie. Right. Well, never want to just throw in the towel gracefully. Let's, Nope. I was hoping we might push them off. I was hoping we might break them, but I think we're about to auto-break ourselves. Yep. Okay, we'll take our fight against the disrupted Phoenicians, and then it's a question of who do we die to first. Probably these guys, as they're less likely to actually kill us. Nope. They did the job. It was an 80% chance. go for the freak disruption. Okay, last turn. I'm getting used to that jingle in this series. Right. Harvey was all over me in this game. The light duel here fatally weakened my units, and I couldn't seem to protect my own troops from my own lights. They ended up getting shoved behind the map, and they weren't really able to do anything. This is where the light javelin are deceptively good, because they have that light spear capability. They force other skirmishers to behave in a very defensive manner, because they don't want to get charged by them. And as a result, they can force skirmishers back behind the lines, and then of course they can hit medium infantry and heavy infantry. They can hit the main line of the force once the skirmishers have been forced to withdraw. They can suffer terribly for it, but I didn't gain any rout percentage from that, because all Harvey had to do was pull his skirmishers back and then send the main force in once they'd done as much damage as they could. Obviously there was a major blunder when I missed the chance to attack the flank there, and that was just me not focusing. It was a mistake that was easy to make. It's very easy to forget about units in built up areas, and when they're suddenly revealed, that means you can't take a move back. So the kind of experimental approaches that I take to try and see what I can do and what I can't do, well, that didn't work that time, because I just ended up blowing my one chance to flank. It's very easily done, and it's a case of experience and just being careful enough. And I wasn't ready for that. It's a real shame I couldn't get a flank attack here, because there was an opportunity for it, but I forget exactly how that was stopped. I wasn't able to get my troops into the units here, and this ended up going south as well. The javelin again just kept pelting and pelting my cavalry until they were worn away. This battle really did highlight the importance of light cavalry, but I think due to the expensive nature of my army, I didn't have as many soldiers either. And again, with those Phoenician style foot being so cost effective, the Cetari, so much of Hannibal's army is cost effective, and it means they can bring a lot of troops to the field. And I had trouble controlling both fighting the lights and fighting the large number of infantry. It was just too tough for me to keep control of the situation in the sense. And Harvey also took the initiative. He took good fights early on. He broke through quickly before I could exploit my own breakthroughs. And in the end, my line just dissolved before I could do anything about it. Over here, I was maybe one turn away from getting critical flank attacks. And this is the story throughout the map. Harvey was just one step ahead of me the whole way. And that's sometimes all you need, to just be one step ahead of your opponent. Anyway, folks, I've been Napoleon Complex. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. And the battle screen.